Good morning. I'm hoping that what you can do is actually hear me. I've had an issue with logging into my eCam this morning. So what we have is I'm at BeLive. I'm using the BeLive again, which I'm a lot more comfortable with. I do know that that should be working, except I haven't got my themes there. I could do an overlay. That is working. Yeah, that is working. Good. I'm going to turn it off though. It was just the fact, for some reason, and I still don't know why, but my eCam was wanting this new version up or something. And I think too that yesterday the Macs and stuff wanted a big upgrade, so it's now on the next one and something's changed. So obviously I'm needing to suss that one out this morning after the show. So I'm going to get into the reading, and I'm just trying to find, good morning, Kathy. Does that show up? Oh, I'm on the other side with this one. Good morning, Kathy. And it will show up a little differently to what we've gotten used to with eCam, of course. And good morning, Judy. Yeah, I can hear fine. Great, thank you. Now, I'm only on my YouTube channel and the mytimetv.live page going through BeLive. It only allows 2 channels, 2 outputs. So I'm going to switch around, excuse me, to actually, I'm hoping that's the right way. Yes, it is. Good. And here we've got the cards that I'm using. Again, put them over that way a little. That's the Gilded Reverie Lenormand. For those who are here who haven't been before, this is the deck that I use. It is Lenormand, it's not tarot. Okay, and I was just going to refine that by putting it over there a little bit. I hadn't fine-tuned because I was having the problems with the other program, the eCam. Well, it's to do with the update, I think, to the Mojave or something else that Macs are doing. Here we go. Hi, Fiona. How are you? And all. Happy Sunday, and Saturday to some others, exactly. Divine energy is coming through the clouds with the shine through the window, absolutely. And it's bringing for me that different look to the cards. As you can see, they've got that hue. Right, where we're at is the letter is in the workspace. We've got the labyrinth in the home space. Up here in the dice, we've got the dice in the unexpected space, and we've got the key, which was in yesterday's spread. The key is in your role, and we have the cross right there in the center of the outcome. Interesting set of cards. Good morning, Shaz. So what we've got, and as that hue is changing out there, it feels like it's going to be hot already. Yes, I've been outside and it was feeling a bit warm. The letter, in that business or work role, I'm just going to get my pendulum out. Actually, I'll just set that there. We've got the letter in that workspace, the business role, the what you're doing for work type stuff. So it is actually going to involve a little bit of form filling or writing stuff down, yes, putting things in writing, but to me it's actually feeling like there's probably going to be a little bit of form-filling type writing as well. So whether you're actually, and it could be writing up a course, where you're actually structuring something, or a book. To me, I'm getting the feeling of some structure here, not just a personal letter to a friend, because we are in the workspace. So I'm feeling it's more a little official with that wax. My eye is going to that wax seal so that it feels like it could be a bit more formalized. Could be a little bit of a legal something that you're actually doing. And I think probably because it's next to the cross, sort out what your wills are. And, as far as your last will and testament, it's not being a gory thing to bring that up. It's actually just being prepared, and that's specifically when you're wanting to hand on business to others. And that is from personal experience, seeing what happens when it's not happened correctly. Okay, so do sort through some of that stuff that now. Have I got things prepared? So that's where I'm feeling the letter card is placed today for that purpose, to make sure you're doing things in a little more formal way, having things prepared and structured right as to how you want them to. Okay. Now, oh yeah, they're all high numbers. Quite true, Fiona. We've got a couple of them. Well, it's the two that are actually in that extended part. It's starting to rain there. Wow. And Danny, it's not a free reading type session, this one. This is the free reading. It is the general card spread. So tune yourself into your own intuitive senses and your own psychic abilities to receive what you need for your reading that's extra to what I'm actually explaining. So, and that's exactly what Fiona is mentioning here. So in the morning, I read for everyone. Okay, so, and in this, with the labyrinth being in our home space too, I'm actually feeling it's a bit more like going for an adventure, playing the game, sort of maze game, the labyrinth that we see. And sometimes they are actually created as hedges in ground hedges and the rest, or it could just be the paper version that you see in a book. Spend some time just playing. I'm feeling that there is a playing aspect to this today because it is in our home space. It's to do with the family and friends that we have around. I know there is up near Clare, I think it is, here in South Australia. I'm not sure. I think it's called the Mintaro Maze. That is an on-ground where you go through mazes like this, go through pathways like this. I'm pretty sure there used to be one on Kangaroo Island as well. I'm not sure whether that's still operating, but it's just have the fun, put in mind, joining in with others to actually go on these little adventures. Look, if it's not that game, certainly get out some board games or something like that, taking a face out of a screen. My daughter's reminded me of that last night in texting that we were doing to organise something for our Christmas thingy. And they said, you need to get away from the screens. And that is so true. Get out and about in nature and play. Have some fun with your family. So that's what I'm feeling. Not necessarily in a park, but in ways that you enjoy spending time together. It could be just going down to the beach to have fish and chips or something like that. Today may be the day for it. I don't know. I know the forecast was for hot here. It's coming over cloudy and looking like it's coming raining. I haven't looked at the forecast this morning, so who knows? I've got washing on the line I've got to get off, I know that. So here we go now for the unexpected. That's actually the dice. So whether I do it that way or that way, I go that way, I don't know. It's a bit different. I'm reaching whatever I do here. The dice, it is. It's the throw in the air and see what comes down. And that's in the unexpected. So who knows what's going to come forward for our day to day, especially, I think, synchronicity as far as the dice goes in the unexpected level there, position. See what happens. Just be prepared. Be aware that there is going to be that sort of unexpected whatever. I'm feeling that. So, yeah. And that's part of the games too, don't forget. We love playing Yahtzee here with the family. Well, we used to when Mum and Dad were still around and the grandkids, all of like my kids, the others, cousins and whatnot. We'd have great fun with Yahtzee and Uno and those sorts of games. So it does feel like it's the lightness, and it is Sunday too. So let your hair down and play. And, Fiona, you're meant to have 40 at the end of the day. Wow. I haven't looked at what ours is. I might even just sneak a peek now. And here in our role, we've got the key. I know we did have that recently. Was that yesterday? I haven't even looked. I don't actually go back to look at what has been. I do sometimes remember when the cards were popping up and what we've got as repeats, because sometimes that's just what you get. It is really a... the memory thing, what a trend is. So with this, yourself, what you want to unlock, what you want to lock away. And it is purely that. I just love the depiction of this rose here that's in the cage. It could be that what you've done is let the bird out of the cage and replaced it with a beautiful rose, leaving the cage door open because you don't want to see it closed again. I've got 27 here now, and I'm just going to open the weather channel. Mine's the weather channel that I get coming up. And it's supposed to get to about 32 here at Port Elliot. So it could be a nice warm day. Probably not one where I'll take the dogs for a walk. I prefer not to have them go for a walk anything above 30. Too hot on their feet. So there we go. We've got the key, and it is your role. It's your responsibility to use it wisely in whatever way you need to. And remember, it is actually you who have this key in hand. And, if you don't want to pass it on or give it to another, don't. If it's something that you need to actually have that full control, keep that full control. But it's certainly something that you don't have to actually keep it to self. You can lend it out, or give it to another to unlock what needs to be unlocked, or there's so many different ways that keys are actually used, just even as that indicator of passing your majority. It used to be 21 years old, you'd have the key to the rest of your life given to you because you were perceived you were actually then considered an adult. So there's that key as well. So whatever it means for you today, use it wisely in that, the turning of your key. And whoops, there's Kathy's saying it's meant to be 37 in Adelaide and cloudy. Wow. And Fiona, you're sitting listening to the Shy is talking with thunder. Oh, yeah, the sky. So you've actually got thundery stuff happening already. Wow. We had a very big storm recently too here, wasn't it? Good weather, isn't it? Yeah, so true. Yeah, keep cool. Keep cool at the 40. I agree. Keep cool at the 37. I like to keep cool at the 33 plus. But anyway, we're digressing. Here we are now at the outcome of the cross. Now, what does the cross mean today as the outcome? I feel it's got something to do with what your role is as well as the letter. It's why I did mention in doing your work, what you need to work on and the rest. It does feel to me there was a connection for me personally as far as sorting out what your last will and testament is. I think too that is part of what the cross is there for. Sort out what are you actually wanting to have as your goals for the day-to-day, and making them something not that you actually have to rigidly set to, but have one of them as being, just think about what you want happening with your stuff that you leave behind once you do die, pass over, whatever term you want to use, transition to the other side, all of those different things. It's not something to be fearful of. I think really, where is it going to go and all the rest? It's not going to be your responsibility by that time that we leave our bodies. But it is a good plan to actually have it structured to where and what does happen to our belongings once we have moved on. And so that there is, families do argue. You think you might have the best family in the world, close-knit and all the rest, and yet there'll still be arguments, a potential for arguments afterwards in people fighting over stuff. And that's all it bloody well is. It's stuff. And the angst it causes is just it's so sad. So do your due diligence in what is your responsibility to make sure it's as clear as possible in what you're writing in a will. And you can't do anything about how it's interpreted afterwards, but certainly make it as clear as possible. If there's something specific you want done with your stuff and the money that you might leave, do make it clear and tie it, so that it is all going to be as you wish after you've passed on. I'm feeling too that as the outcome is for that cross to actually only keep what responsibility you need to keep right up until that last moment. I don't know what any of your ages are or anything, but certainly it's not too early to actually sort that out. because any of us, as we know, there is tragedies in the world and things that happen. And I'm not wanting to have your Sunday start off on a sad downer note, but it's just something to have that. We do need to be thinking about what is we have already been born, we are living our lives now, and we will die. We will pass from this body, and our spirit will move on to wherever it goes. And we're only going to know that when we get there. So even though this isn't actually the death card, it is more about responsibilities. But I think as far as an outcome goes, no, by the end of the day, you've given some thought to where your stuff is going to go. How much stuff do you actually want to keep that needs to be sorted? Because that's something that in my own life, there's things that we built up, as in my husband and I at the time, built up a wonderful big business. Yes, I moved on from it, but it's now, from tragic death to being dissolved to a nothing. So, it brings with it a lot of emotion and all sorts of stuff that's happening on that emotional level, not just for me, but other members of family and a town, really. So consider that. Consider that action consider those actions of what you're actually doing in your life that's bringing joy to you, because I feel the dice, the labyrinth in that wonderful space of our home, playing the games, putting your focus on what is wonderful, happy times, spending time with those around you instead of accumulating stuff. Set free all that conditioning that we have, that to be successful we need stuff around us, all those bits and pieces. We don't. Spend time with those that you love. Create the memories and experiences. I think is absolutely more important than actually accumulating things that we have to store, move, and then get rid of later. Not you can tell where my focus is. So, and thank you. It's your sister-in-law's born day today, and having wow, yep, I understand that. And divine cards this morning. Nails it for you and family. Look, stay well there, Fiona. I do understand you do have those health issues. Kathy, you haven't got a will or a funeral plan? Maybe time to look into it. I think more it's not so much the funeral plans. We've seen through some, get reputable recommendations, etc., because some are dodgy. And that's just saying a fact. People have been caught out. My parents did have that in place. It's having a valid, solid, legal last will and testament done properly by lawyers and lodge them with a lawyer as a copy. Do not just have one copy in your own house and not registered elsewhere or placed elsewhere in a legal safe place. You just don't know what family or other people will do with it if it's only just the one copy in one place. And that's personal experience. Thank you for bringing that up, for writing that there, because I think it really is important to actually have a last will these days. It saves so much on family angst afterwards, I would think. Haven't experienced that yet, but then anyway, there we go. Namaste. Thank you, Fiona. Thank you. And good morning to you, Margaret. I'm just on the finish of it, so I've just noticed these other comments, so I'm just putting those up. So your son wants you to do your will. Absolutely. You do need to. So, yeah, look, thank you, Kathy, for that. It really doesn't matter what age, even if you're 25, as soon as you have possessions of any sort, that you feel really needs to be handed on consciously to where you'd like it to go, certainly get a last will and testament done. Because other than having a valid will, if a person dies intestate, and I'm not a legal eagle, I just know from personal experience, if you do not have a will, and you die intestate, that's called. A public, for the probate stuff, it's the government, a public trustee gets appointed and they do it. They divide wherever they see fit. And I have no idea how much they listen to every party because I'm not involved in that side. We had different situation in our family. Well, it's a situation that was different, put it that way. Certainly sort it out. It is worth the money to have it. Know that it is absolutely a secure last will and testament, not the kit stuff that you buy from a newsagent. It really is important, I feel, to go to your lawyers or solicitor and have a valid will done. They know the ins and outs of it much better than you guessing or even going from a guide in a book. So seriously think about it. Yep. So, yes, Diane, seriously. Think about having them kept up to date too, because situations change, which is once I've finished unpacking stuff and find mine, I'll be having a relook at it as well. So I know I've got one. It's just a matter of finding it. Okay, and especially too, even just thinking on that, even if you're actually moving in, you've got one and it's been a while since you've had it updated, keeping an eye on the lawyer that wrote it up, that they are actually still in business and working, and have their, the one that you've got on file with them, that you are still able to access it, and family afterwards too. Make sure it's known where it is stored. Okay, must do that. Must. It really is a must. Peace of mind, no arguments. Look, it's peace of mind for you, and if there is arguments later, there's a proof that this is how you wanted it. That's pure and simple. It doesn't stop arguments, it doesn't alleviate them, but it will reduce, and it's there in writing legally. That's a wonderful note to finish it on, isn't it? But I'm going to finish by doing this. There is our card spread for the day. So concentrate, actually have the play. That's where I would spend my focus. You're unlocking so much in your mind, in the responsibilities that you've got. Some that are the responsibilities, but you're also unlocking that playfulness today. So do that. Get out and play with those you love, the friends, the family. Play. Have a wonderful day and be the best person that you can be. Namaste. Now I've got to find where it ended on this one. Up there. Bye for now.